Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony is about to begin. At this time, please find your seats and take a moment to turn off or silence all electronic devices. Throughout the ceremony, you will be given cues to stand and be seated at appropriate times. As a reminder, during the singing of our national anthem, military members should stand at attention and our civilian guests should stand with their right hands over their hearts. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we pay special tribute to Captain Catherine A. Aguilar on the occasion of her retirement from the United States Air Force. We are honored today to have with us as our presiding official of today's ceremony, Brigadier General Micah Fessler, Assistant Adjutant General Air. Sharing in this occasion today are many family, friends, and special guests. We're extremely honored to have in attendance of Captain Aguilar's family, her parents, Michael and Virginia, her special man friend, Mike, her brother, Richard, who's also photographing today's ceremony, her sister, Angel, and her nieces, Morgan and Madison, along with her family and friends joining us virtually.
Captain Aguilar would also like to welcome our special guests, and please hold all applause until the end. Brigadier General Jeremiah Tucker, U.S. Space Command, J7. Brigadier General Michael Bruno, Director of the Joint Staff. Mila Fessler, spouse of the Assistant Adjutant General Air. Brigadier General Retired Chappie Franz. Chief Master Sergeant Jeremy Jenkins, Colorado Air National Guard State Command Chief. Colonel Benjamin Couchman, 140th Wing Commander. Colonel Kerry Worrell, 140th Deputy Commander. Chief Master Sergeant Byron Phillips, 140th Wing Command Chief.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the National Anthem by Tech Sergeant Juliana Kim.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars do the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly stream. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Tech Sergeant Kim.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the presiding official for today's ceremony, Brigadier General Micah Zeus Fessler.
It's a packed house, which is pretty darn awesome and really a testament to you, Kat. I will probably randomly transition between Kat and Gato throughout this thing, so please forgive me. When I say Gato, I'm just referring to you in a different language. No, this is a great opportunity to celebrate you and what an awesome human being you are. Thank you for being here. For the whole whole of Team Aguilar and special man friend Mike. Yeah, it's great having so many people, as well as people out there on Facebook that are joining us. And then, you know, people that are currently serving in the wing, retirees. There's a list of people that are here because you're an awesome human, Cat, and we're all here to celebrate you. So also want to say a quick thank you to Mackenzie and to Cindy and to Juliana, Karina. Where's Mike? I know he's here. Where's Mike? Yes, back there, putting together a totally cool video. The Shoopster and Juliana for the anthem there. Thank you for everybody putting this together. None of these things happen without a whole bunch of effort, and this is a team that's put in a whole bunch of effort to make this awesome. So again, a testament to you, Kat. Thanks to everybody for being here today. It says we're here to celebrate your legacy of service, which is a pretty darn cool thing overall. And I think one of the coolest things, one of the things that I love when we get the chance to retire or celebrate somebody in our organization is talking about their journey. And one of the awesome things about the Guard is that every journey and every adventure is a wooden shoe. Like there is no standard Guard story, but Kat's is definitely exceptional when you think about it. So she starts out as she's done with college, she's 29 years old, she's sitting here working in this security forces squadron here at Buckley, and she's watching some chaos, some mayhem, some things going on at the time, and she's like, you know what? I think I can make this place better. And that's going to be a theme through this. I think I can make this place better is a theme that I think is completely applicable to Kat and one of the amazing superpowers that she has. And she decides, I'm going to try and be an officer in this organization. I want to be a defender officer here. And of course, as a standard Guard answer is hey, if you want to be an officer, you got to enlist. That seems to be the standard story we tell everybody. So she drops everything at the age of 29 and goes, okay, fine, I'll go do that. And she enlists and becomes a defender here in the 140th Wing, which I think is pretty darn cool. And at first, everybody seemed to indicate to her, like, haha, we bait and switched you a bit. There's not a lot of opportunity, but fortunately, this handsome bald man up here in the front decided that he was going to put out an ad for an officer hire, for an operations officer for the 140th Security Forces Squadron. Kat applied for it, and no surprise, she was selected to be that. Now this is pretty cool because she does get some time as an enlisted defender here, and it's actually one of the coolest things. She gets, in this entire experience, I believe humans tell stories. That's what we do. We love doing it, and one of my favorite stories I've ever heard about Kat comes from this period of time in her life. When she's a defender here, enlisted defender here in the 140th, the wing picks up and goes to Hungary. And she and 3 of her friends decide they have a day off. We're going to go to Budapest for the day. So they jump on a train, they go to Budapest, and as tends to happen at these things, they start blowing it up and somehow miss their train back to Papa. To which now she's a little bit concerned. She's going to have to call her supervisor and inform them that they will not be on shift first thing in the morning, that they might be a little bit late as they don't have a way to get back to Papa from Budapest. Supervisor, being a good supervisor, standard cool thing, goes, okay, you know what you guys need to do? Get a hotel, bed down there, get back here first thing when you can in the morning, we'll sort this out tomorrow, which is standard, awesome leadership right there. However, this is where it gets awkward and funny at the same time as Kat and her friends decide they're going to split up into 2 teams of 2 to try and procure lodging for the evening, because probably don't have a lot of money as a young airman. We're going to split this up, and it's hard to find a room last second, like midnight in Budapest. Well, when she walks in with one of her co-workers, she is immediately sent back out of the hotel by a guy yelling, no prostitutes in here. And after a few attempts of getting yelled at, no prostitutes in the hotel, they finally change up the teams a little bit, get 2 people to get a room, and then sneak everybody in so that they've got a place to crash overnight. By the time they do this, it's like 4 in the morning, they sleep for like 30 minutes, wake up and get on the first train, and immediately, as all good defenders do, go straight on to shift. That's what they do, right? Sleeping is optional in the defender business, and that's why you guys are all badasses. So there's Gato's great Finny trip story from being an enlisted defender. She comes back, goes through school, commission, right out the door, comes back to the wing, and right out the door goes to Kandahar, which is pretty darn cool. She is a first lieutenant leading a 75-person team in combat. When you think about it, that's kind of the dream. That's the officer dream right there. I know it sounds terrible, but leading people through difficulty, through challenges, through combat, That's what we do. That's what we're born to do. That's what we're bred for in this organization, in this field of business. And Capt, no doubt, picks it up, moves forward, and takes these 75 people through a combat deployment. One of the coolest things talking to Capt, and I've seen this before, and this is one of the best traits that we have in our warriors, is calm and chaos. You know, when everything gets crazy and people start shooting and everything else, Capt actually gets mellow, and it is fantastic. And that's a sign of a true warrior, and I think that's pretty cool because that's what it takes to lead other humans through threats, through challenges, through risk in life. And I think there is no doubt in my mind. I wish I could have actually been there to watch it because I'm sure it was absolutely awesome to see you in the midst of that. And, you know, thankful to us, she comes back, and that's the point we actually catch that Capt's duking it out with cancer. By pure luck, she's on Title 10, and we catch this, and we're able to start attacking it right there. And as terrible as that is, it ends up for me being a really cool opportunity. And the reason why I say that is, and I'm comfortable saying that is because, Capt, you look at everything as opportunities. That's what I've noticed about you. And it's what leads Capt to come up and be the exec up there in the wing when I'm working as the wing commander. And I had the unique opportunity of spending some time working with Capt. And one of the coolest things is, one, she's an unbelievable trusted agent. She is absolutely amazing. You can have her in any room. She'll watch what's going on, and she will give you the most sage advice you've ever heard. And then one of my favorite things is always have this laugh. And dude, anytime I finish a conversation with somebody, I can always replay things, and I'm thinking about things in that conversation, and I always hear your laugh when I'm thinking about whatever conversation was having, whatever thing we were just solving, Capt, and you were always there in that organization. One of the coolest things she talked about is that opportunity was the idea that, and this sounds weird, but it's the truth. When you get up to the large end of this thing, you start to realize how the machine works. And Capt had this really cool observation that she said to me. She said, it was that moment that I realized that everybody is absolutely important and absolutely critical and also absolutely expendable at the same time. And I know that sounds weird, but when you are running a military organization, that's truly a sign of maturity because that's what we have to think of. We have to have this machine running, you know. We love and care for every one of these people, but we're all wearing this uniform for a reason. And your maturity and your wisdom that you brought every day as the exec up there in the wing was absolutely fantastic. And I leaned on you heavily there, and I appreciate you. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for making me smile every time. Capt gets an opportunity to go off and lead Fire Guard. And for those of you who don't know what Fire Guard is, we have guardsmen here and in California that actually sit there 24/7, 365, using our overhead intelligence assets to actually help our wildland firefighters fight fires. So they're out there duking it out in the forest, duking it out in the middle of nowhere, and we have people that are sitting here 24/7, 365, making sure those firefighters know where to go, getting them out of harm's way when the fire starts moving fast, and she led that team. She led that team and helped advertise how important that is to our country. As people who lived here in Colorado and may have lived here at the end of 2021 when we saw the Marshall File rip through, you start realizing how important that is. And thank you from everybody that lives in the amazing West that's also worried about fires every day for leading that team through that. You know, I think what's really cool about Capt in all of these things is that she sees everything as opportunity. So she's like, oh, it's an opportunity to lead people. I want to go be a joint leader. I'm going to go lead. She does that for a while, and then she sees that I need an exec again. And lo and behold, she's like, hey, I think I can make it better. And that's ironically the thing that you find is a common thread through Capt's entire existence. I think I can make this better. So she comes back over and comes over to the air staff and starts running herd on the air staff in only the way that you can do, fixing things every single day and laughing and making people laugh and smile around you while you give us all the advice and the wisdom that we absolutely need. And I think that was pretty darn cool. She gets an opportunity, and actually I think maybe struggled with it a little bit because she talked to me about it. She's like, hey, I don't want to leave this job, but I have an opportunity to go over to ARPC and work. And ARPC is the Air Reserve Personnel Center. They're the people that take care of all the things that we do in the military, meaning the humans. When are you going to retire? How are you going to get paid? How are you going to get promoted? And her thing that she said to me is, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to officer the shit out of this thing. Which is exactly what Capt's superpower is she's not worried about, I need to do the specific job. She steps back and she looks at the machine as it is, and she looks at the humans in the machine as it is, and goes, I can make this better. And she went over there because we knew we had problems getting our people retired. and we were struggling to get our guardsmen retired in the right way, get them paid, get them credit for the service they did, and she took that on to take care of our airmen. So not only is she out there duking it out with cancer on herself, she's also focused on the hundreds of thousands of guardsmen and reservists across our country that are out there serving every day, and she carries the mantle to go, I'm going to take care of them, I'm going to make this better. There were two things that I thought were really cool that you talked to me about that you loved about your service in the military. And the first one of those is she talks about meeting people from different walks of life. People that you probably would not have met. And when I look around this room, I think that's 100% right. We all wear this, we all come from different walks of life, and our paths may not have crossed. But somehow, in this crucible, this combat warrior organization, we bring people from across our country who all serve together and get to meet and interact with amazing people. And then, as you pointed out, come to find out we're all pretty darn similar at the end of the day. It's a great group of people. The other thing that I thought was super cool, and it kind of goes back to the beginning of this thing where I talked about make it better. Kat has this extraordinary power to see the potential in others that they may not see in themselves. And she has a way of pushing people to be better every single day. And I think throughout her experiences, I've heard all these stories, and as I've talked to other people throughout the organization, there are people that will come up and say that, go, she believed in me when I didn't even know I could do this, and she pushed me to do something that made me uncomfortable. It made me not happy at the time, but you know what? She was absolutely right. And that is 100% you to a T, Kat. I can't thank you enough for your selfless service, for your incredible drive, for your vision of a better everything. The fact that every single day you show up and say, I can make this better, is just something special, Kat. I love your laugh too. Thank you for laughing with me all the time. Thank you for keeping things light and lively, even in the midst of solving the biggest crises. Somehow you always have a chuckle, you always have a laugh, and you have a way of making everything just okay. So on behalf of all of the warriors of the Colorado Air National Guard and of the Colorado National Guard, I want to thank you, Kat, for making us all better, and I want to thank you personally for making me better.
Thank you, General Fessler. Would Captain Aguilar please come forward and join Brigadier General Fessler for the publishing of the retirement order? Attention orders.
Publish the order.
Special order number 00-0302, dated 7 April 2025. Captain Catherine Aguilar, Buckley Space Force Base, Colorado, effective 7 April 2025. You are relieved from active duty, organization, and station of assignment, retired effective 7 April 2025, per AFI 36-3203, in the grade of captain, by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force.
There we go.
At this time, we would like to invite Captain Aguilar's dad, Mike, to please come forward for the retirement pin presentation. The retirement pin is presented at the retirement ceremony to signify membership in an elite organization of men and women that have served the United States Air Force and their country with pride, honor, and distinction in wartime and peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you for the first time Captain Catherine A. Aguilar, United States Air Force, retired.
So, General Fessler, Zeus, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for all of the laughs that I think are probably more your fault than mine. But yeah, you took a chance on me at the recommendation of Captain Burrows, and I cannot thank either of you enough for putting me where I was and welcoming me into your world as family. I can only hope I continue to live up to the hype. So I'm going to do this a little bit backwards and do my thank yous first, because I really don't think I'm going to get through them otherwise. Mike Burrows, where are you at? Thank you so much for helping me with this slideshow. I could not have done it without you. It's going to be epic, as the kids say, so I'm really excited to show everybody our work. To the people who made today possible, I know Zeus already thanked them, but Captain Burrows, Senior Master Sergeant Van Voorhees, Master Sergeant Mathis, and Master Sergeant Shoup. Anyone who's ever planned an event knows that they're not important until they're important. So it's really a lot of work, and I was out of commission for the majority of the time. So these ladies just picked up and did everything, and it's absolutely perfect. So I'm so grateful for them. In addition, thank you to my Coang family for being here, my ARPC family for being here. I saw some of you out there, and my National Guard leaders for taking the time to be here today. Now to my family. There are no words for how grateful I am for you guys. Dad and Rich, my core family, who I grew up with since the day I was born. You guys taught me how to do no harm but take no shit. So I appreciate that. It's obviously served me well. Mama Verge, Angel, Tina, who may be on Facebook, Morgan and Maddie, thank you for loving my dad as much as I do and giving him the opportunity to be a grandpa. Mike, my special man friend. Because boyfriend sounds like we're 12. And we're not. We're at least 12. Our relationship has been through a lot in a very short amount of time, so thank you for still being here. So here are some flowers for the ladies and some beef jerky in the shape of flowers for the gentlemen. Because that makes the most sense. It was very expensive, by the way, so I hope it's actually good. I probably should have just done it myself. So as I compiled my guest list, it struck me that I have an incredibly diverse and beautiful community surrounding me, from school friends to colleagues, neighbors, healthcare providers, friends and family. I'm eternally grateful to have you all in my corner. Thank you for being here in person, in Facebook land, and in life. It's really beautiful to see all of my worlds come together in this way. And as I write this about 10 years ahead of my best laid plans, it's naturally bittersweet. I'm not going to stand up here and throw out cliche life advice like live like you're dying, or spout off empty platitudes like life is short, play hard, because I'm no more qualified to tell you how to live than you are. I'm also not going to stand up here and tell you what to appreciate just because it's being taken away from me. What I am qualified to tell you, though, is my story. And Zeus shared some pretty good snippets of it as well, but I do think it's a pretty fascinating story. And I want you to connect with my experience in some way, draw from it whatever you will, maybe learn something, be intrigued by something, and share it with me. Like Zeus said, one of my favorite things about leadership is when people get to see themselves the way I see them. So I'd love to see myself the way that you see me. No pressure or anything like that, because you guys carry my legacy. I came to the 140th, like Zeus said, as a civilian, hired to get the unit ready for a UCI, if anybody remembers what those are. I know I said I wouldn't talk about cliche phrases, but as I learned about the alert mission and learned about the people supporting it, it was the first time I truly understood the concept of something bigger than oneself, and it was really fascinating to me. I also saw some things that I thought could be done better, and met some people who I thought deserved better. So I suppose you could say seeing what I saw ignited that fire in me. It's the same fire that's carried me through enlistment, commissioning, combat zone deployment, and now cancer treatment twice. I did take the unconventional path. Like Zeus said, I had a whole career before I came to the Guard. I went to basic training when I was 30, which I suppose is not strange for a Guardsman. But I was kind of at my lowest point. I had just broken off an engagement. I was broke. I was living in my parents' basement. With zero confidence in myself. And so, hey, let's go to basic training. That sounds awesome. Seems like a great idea when you're like in the throes of grief and trauma. But I really thought at the time that my value was dwindling as a 30-year-old woman, which is kind of crazy because now I stand here craving more years and looking at every white hair that pops up like, yes, because it's one of the few things that I can actually say is not cancer related and is definitely age related. So I am treating aging as a privilege, and I'm grateful for all these little sparkles coming in. My enlisted time took me to multiple domestic operations, living that DSG life, trying to balance a demanding civilian career with saying yes to every TDY or activation offered to me, and my first overseas TDY. Hungry. Then it was OTS, more domestic ops, security forces officer course, tasing, OC spray, all that fun stuff. Then I went Guard full time, so I dealt with total force integration, Afghanistan and rocket attacks, breast cancer, developmental and high performance tours, a career field change, a stat tour, and now a crushing blow, medical retirement. My enlisted time was great, but I knew that because of my age, 29, 30, right, it would be wisest to pursue a commission if I really wanted to have the impact that I intended. I was met with resistance at every turn, like Zeus said. It was, you have to enlist first to be an officer, so I did that. Then it was, we don't commission new officers in this unit, it's a landing spot for our USAF bros, roger that. So I stayed DSG, worked on my civilian career, and sought out commissions elsewhere. The most brazen that I heard, directly to my face, by an E9, was that, quote, a woman will never be an officer in this unit. Yeah, that was 2013, 14. I don't know that he necessarily believed that, but that's how it had always been. And so that's how he felt. Luckily, then Lieutenant Colonel Bruno, who is now General Bruno, didn't really care about how it had always been, and as the new MSG commander, he opened that position and completely changed the trajectory of my career. So remember that when you hold opportunities in your hands for your airmen, because they absolutely deserve it, and they will do great things. So once the fog of my latest diagnosis of metastatic or stage 4 breast cancer and a med board settled a little bit, I took advantage of the time I had to reflect. And the most common theme that kept coming up was that there's an undeniable duality to every single thing in life, like what Zeus said. I found myself saying "and" a lot, or "but," and then Mike would correct me and say "and," or "I get to" instead of "I have to." And that's where it occurred to me that if this is how it has to be, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with what I've experienced in 42 years, especially the last 12 that I've spent wearing the uniform. And it's an important distinction to note that I'm not talking about accomplishments. I'm not talking about all the things on my wall that kind of validate my experiences. I'm talking about the life lived and all of its experiences. Thanks, Mama. I don't know if you're reading. And accomplishments may come with that, sure, but saying yes to the experiences is where I've found the deepest meaning. And I think that that kind of satisfaction is a rare luxury in life. and a welcome one as I face this uncertain, truncated future of mine. So, now that I've had time to process the whole current situation, that my cancer is back, it's spread to my bones and lungs, it's treatable but not curable this time, and I'm no longer fit for military service, I still stand here in front of you, filled with immense gratitude. I'm incredibly fortunate to have experienced what I have in life, career, relationships, and family. When I found out I had cancer the first time, I was fresh off the deployment, and so I was just ready to fight. I was ready to fight everything, actually. There was a desired end state. I could write an op-ord, and we were going to get to the end of that. And so I did. And then after that, I said that if it ever came back, I wasn't sure how hard I'd be able to fight, but looking at all of your faces, I know I can do it again. I'm both amazed at what I experienced in only 12 years and disappointed that I don't get more time. I reflect fondly on what was, and I grieve what could have been. I'm sad that I no longer meet military standards, and I'm grateful that the United States Air Force is fulfilling their end of the bargain by taking care of me as a retiree. When I was told I'd likely be medically retired, I felt so defeated, like I was being fired or I was losing my job. But underneath that defeat was relief. My body knew what it needed, but my heart and mind weren't ready to let it happen yet. I was afraid to dismantle this major part of my identity to make room for another very unwelcome one as a cancer patient. But I get to determine that. I get to discover who I am now. So, what's next for me? Well, I can finally say that I've accomplished my lifelong dream of becoming a stay-at-home dog mom. Roxy, who is back there and like dying to come up here with Mama, Roxy and I plan to get certified as a therapy dog team so we can go visit patients like me when I feel a little better. And we will be seeing Chloe through her final years. She's 15, I have stage 4 cancer, so we're kind of just like living it up, you know? What else are we gonna do? I'll be focusing on writing and creating, because that's where I've found a lot of peace. And my first published essay is actually already out there in Wildfire Breast Cancer magazine, so you can look that up. And it talks ironically about losing my hair the first time, which is crazy because I'm losing it again. 5 years, like almost to the day, I'm losing my hair in the same pattern. Anyways, eventually, once I'm well enough, I plan to use my story and my experiences to advocate for people experiencing unexpected obstacles like me. No one should have to struggle through this alone. At the end of the day, I have everything I need and more. My heart is happy, my body is healing, and I'm surrounded by a beautiful community of people and animals. And if I'd listened to my dad and gone to the academy straight out of high school, I probably would be retiring right now anyway. But where's the fun in that, right? Oh, and I have one more person to thank, but it requires a video, so it requires tech support, and this guy's a genius.
Not least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always being a giver and trying to give more than I receive. I want to thank me for trying to do more right than wrong. I want to thank me for just being me at all
basic training.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about
Thank you, Captain Aguilar. Captain Aguilar. So, the men and women of the United States Air Force and the Air National Guard are proud to have served with you. Your knowledge, wisdom, dedication, and friendship will be sorely missed by all. We wish you well as you begin the next chapter in your life. This concludes the formal ceremony. Please join us for a charcuterie mimosa bar, and in the interest of maximizing time and mingling, if you brought a gift to present to Captain Aguilar, please do so after the ceremony. Thank you all for attending, and have a wonderful day.
We have a litho and a notebook and some note cards if you guys would like to come over and write Captain Aguilar some notes.
You did awesome. Thank you.